I'm Gary Anthony Ramsay with your Our News Now Rewind. Stories making headlines for the week ending July 2nd, 2010. Our top stories include: Thurgood Marshall is used against Elena Kagan in her Supreme Court confirmation hearings. The president joins a long list of other presidents to make another push for immigration reform. A New York City cop sues the estate of a police shooting victim. A former NFL star's son drowns at home. Mel Gibson uses the N-word, and LeBron James' watch continues. Our top story: the president's nominee for the Supreme Court is grilled by senators on Capitol Hill this week, many of them using her association and loyalty to Thurgood Marshall as a criticism. Marshall was the first African-American appointed to the nation's top court. Ms. Kagan clerked for the justice in the early days of her career and referred to him as her hero. In speech after speech, Republicans blasted Marshall as an activist judge, mentioning his name 35 times in opening statements.
Marshall, each well-known activist.
Justice Marshall's judicial philosophy is not what I would consider to be mainstream. He might be the epitome of a results-oriented judge.
These judges really don't deny their activist ideas, they advocate it.
Kagan, for the most part, seemed unflapped by the pressure, vowing to be an impartial member of the court.
If confirmed, I will remember and abide by all these lessons. I will listen hard to every party before the court and to each of my colleagues. I will work hard, and I will do my best to consider every case impartially, modestly, with commitment to principle, and in accordance with law.
Despite the criticism, Republicans say they are unlikely to filibuster her confirmation, clearing the path to making her the newest justice on the Supreme Court.
During a speech this week, the president said he, like his predecessor, would like to pass legislation on immigration reform. He called on Republican support to pass a law that addresses the 12 million illegal immigrants in the U.S. without disrupting the economy, violating American values, or the spirit of the words on the Statue of Liberty, which say in part, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free."
Let us remember these words, for it falls on each generation to ensure that that lamp, that beacon, continues to shine as a source of hope around the world and a source of our prosperity here at home.
After an anxious week, a storm system in the Gulf causes delays, but little physical threat to oil spill cleanup efforts. Hurricane Alex pounded southern Texas with 85-mile-per-hour winds. Hundreds of ships taking part in recovery efforts that moved away temporarily are now back at work. This week, the House of Representatives passed a bill that removes limits on financial damages that can be awarded for accidents off U.S. coastlines. BP's financial liability for the oil spill so far is estimated at $60 billion. Back to the Supreme Court, as the current panel in a 5-4 vote strikes a blow to gun advocates by overturning a Chicago law. The court said Chicago's 28-year ban on handguns is unconstitutional. In his written decision, Clarence Thomas weighed in, making a rare racially charged pitch. Referring to the disarming of blacks during the post-Reconstruction era, Thomas wrote, quote, "It was the duty of white citizen patrols to search Negro houses and other suspected places for firearms. If they found any firearms, the patrols were to take the offending slave or free black to the nearest justice of the peace, whereupon he would be severely punished. Never again," said Thomas. In an effort to keep the gun ban in place, Chicago's Mayor Richard Daley is proposing new gun restriction legislation. In California, the NAACP support for the legalization of marijuana is creating some anger in the black church. Citing disproportionate arrests for African Americans in drug cases, the NAACP says it supports Proposition 19. It would make recreational use of marijuana legal if the measure is passed in November. Several pastors, though, have voiced their opposition to the measure because of the correlation, they say, between drugs and crime in the African American community. In New York, a police officer who was part of a team of cops that gunned down an unarmed groom-to-be 4 years ago is now suing the dead man's estate. An unarmed Sean Bell died in a hail of police bullets after leaving his bachelor party in 2006. Michael Carey was one of the officers acquitted of murder in that case. He now claims in a federal lawsuit that he suffered severe leg injuries after Bell hit him with his car while trying to get away from the plainclothes officers. Bell's family have filed wrongful death claims against the police officers and the city of New York. In Las Vegas, the son of former NFL great Randall Cunningham is found dead in the family hot tub. 2-year-old Christian Cunningham was found Tuesday afternoon by an unidentified woman. Cunningham was out of town at the time, taking a physical for his NFL pension. He played 16 years in the NFL, 10 of those in Philadelphia. In your Our News Now World Wrap, the residents of Guinea are awaiting the results of that country's first free elections. Guinea has been controlled by authoritarian or military control since gaining independence from France in 1958. More than 4 million people voted. 24 civilian candidates were running for president. If no candidate gets more than a 50% majority, the top 2 will take part in a runoff scheduled for July 18th.
Heartbreak and excitement at the World Cup as Ghana loses to Uruguay in a nail-biting tiebreaker. With seconds left in regulation, a penalty gives team star Asamoah Gyan the chance to make Ghana the first African team to reach the semifinals. But the striker, who scored 2 penalties previously in the tournament, rattled the bar from 12 yards out. In the shootout to follow, Ghana players missed 2 shots. Uruguay goes on to meet the Netherlands. They eliminated Brazil earlier in the day.
In entertainment news, a Hollywood A-lister is in a firestorm after allegedly using the N-word. RadarOnline.com released excerpts of a tape in which Mel Gibson is heard screaming at now ex-girlfriend Oksana Grigorieva. In the rant, the Oscar-winning actor and director can be heard berating the mother of his 8-month-old daughter, saying, quote, "You look like an expletive pig in heat. If you get raped by a pack of N-words, it will be your fault," end quote. Gibson and Grigorieva are now locked in a custody battle over Lucia Gibson. The star has other previously well-documented rants against women and Jews. And finally, LeBron watch continues as the NBA superstar is courted by the New York Knicks, the New Jersey Nets, and the Miami Heat, just to name a few. LeBron has also convened with Miami star Dwayne Wade to talk about their future. James is a free agent after spending 7 years in Cleveland. His next contract could be worth over $30 million. For a complete look at any of the stories you've seen on the Rewind, remember, go to the bottom of the web page, find the link of the story you'd like to see, and click your way through. That's your Our News Now Rewind for this week. I'm Gary Anthony Ramsay.